be fearful when others are greedy and be greedy when others are fearful. And that was a phrase that became famous by our friend Warren Buffett. And his partner, as you know, Charlie Munger, just passed away this past week. Here we are in early December of 2023. But that guy was a huge influence on our business and how we think.
So what's new in the investing world?
My goodness, there's always new things going on. But I think really the main new thing has been the economic news that's come out recently. That has been great news for the markets and especially for the debt markets, right? So we've sort of gotten a hold on inflation. We think consumer spending is down, which is a good thing, ironically. And as a result, interest rates in the last month have come down by about 50 basis points or half a percentage point. And on top of that, the bank's perception of risk has softened a little bit and they're lowering their spreads a little bit. So you have these two things coming together, lowering the effective rates that we're getting, which is welcome relief after 21 months of being pressed and pushed. And you're starting to see some optimism in the markets and people starting to lean in toward the markets again. It's the beginning of what you often hear as green shoots happening right now.
So half a point doesn't sound like much, but is it?
It is and it isn't. Right. In the grand scheme of things, half a point when rates have gone up 3-4 points in the last couple of years isn't a huge thing. But we have something called momentum in our industry. And either the momentum is working against you or it's working for you. And the big deal is the psychology of the market. And as things start to swing back toward positive, even if it's only a symbolic 50 basis point change, it really changes whether people are leaning into and pursuing the market.
Well, that is exciting because there's been a lot of the opposite of optimism, more like pessimism and gloom and doom. And just the possibility of lower interest rates is massive. I just always felt that 2024 was going to be a stabilization of interest rates. I believe that interest rates are going to continue staying high for a while. But that is an environment where inflation rates have gone up like 10 times in a row. And that has created a lot of fear, not just in buyers, but also in lenders. Like, how has this rise in interest rates really impacted the lending environment?
Right? I mean, they've gone from offense to defense, right? They've gone from just we need to issue out money and get money working for us to making sure they don't lose capital, making sure that the assets that's securing the loans are strong, right? So banks have gotten very defensive, much harder to work with. Loan proceeds have been lowered the last 2 years. So it makes me think of the phrase that we often hear, which is be fearful when others are greedy and be greedy when others are fearful. And that was a phrase that became famous by our friend Warren Buffett. And his partner, as you know, Charlie Munger, just passed away this past week. Here we are in early December of 2023. But that guy was a huge influence on our business and how we think.
Well, that's exactly right. I quote Buffett a lot because he really buys high quality assets at reasonable prices, which is kind of what we do. We buy high quality value add properties at reasonable prices, and then we improve them. And that's kind of what Buffett and Munger have done. And I really love that philosophy. And I think one of the things that Munger was quoted for saying is, be prepared to wait if necessary. I also like that because I feel like we're kind of in a waiting pattern, holding pattern right now.
Yeah, there is. We've said in a perfect world, we would love to buy a deal, say once a quarter, right? But we haven't bought a deal in over a year, right? And the answer is because we just can't find deals that work, and we're not going to push to get a deal if it doesn't make sense. So we're trying to practice that Munger philosophy of waiting.
Yeah, exactly right.